Good morning. Happy Sunday. I'm late this morning. I always have an excuse, okay? I always get up on Sunday morning and I'm like, I know I'm late, but. Well, I'm late this morning because I had technical difficulties with my website and it was an urgent fix this morning. And I had to eat breakfast. I was starving. So I'm sitting in my chair next to a dog. So if you hear quiet snoring, it's my dog. It's not my husband. It's my dog. It's giving me the stink eye for saying that about him. All right, let's do this. February 6th. Manna and quail from heaven. Exodus 16, 1 through 36, which is 1446 or 1280 BC. Then the whole community of Israel set out from Elim and journeyed into the wilderness of Sin, between Elim and Mount Sinai. They arrived there on the 15th day of the second month, 1 month after leaving the land of Egypt. There, too, the whole community of Israel complained about Moses and Aaron. If only the Lord had killed us back in Egypt, they moaned. There we sat around pots filled with meat and ate all the bread we wanted. But now you have brought us into the wilderness to starve us all to death. Then the Lord said to Moses, Look, I'm going to rain down food from heaven for you. Each day, the people can go out and pick up as much food as they need for that day. I will test them in this to see whether or not they will follow my instructions. On the sixth day, they will gather food, and when they prepare it, there will be twice as much as usual. So Moses and Aaron said to all the people of Israel, By evening you will realize that the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt, it was the Lord who brought you out of the land of Egypt. In the morning you will see the glory of the Lord, because he has heard your complaints, which are against him, not against us. What have we done that you should complain about us? Then Moses added, The Lord will give you meat to eat in the evening, and bread to satisfy you in the morning, for he has heard all your complaints against him. What have we done? Yes, your complaints are against the Lord, not against us. Then Moses said to Aaron, Announce this to the entire community of Israel. Present yourselves before the Lord, for he has heard your complaining. And as Aaron spoke to the whole community of Israel, they looked out towards the wilderness. There they could see the awesome glory of the Lord in the cloud. Then the Lord said to Moses, I have heard the Israelites' complaints. Now tell them, in the evening you will have meat to eat, and in the morning you will have all the bread you want. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God. That evening, vast numbers of quail flew in and covered the camp. And the next morning, the area around the camp was wet with dew. When the dew evaporated, a flaky substance as fine as frost blanketed the ground. The Israelites were puzzled when they saw it. What is it? They asked each other. They had no idea what it was. And Moses told them, It is the food the Lord has given you to eat. These are the Lord's instructions. Each house should gather as much as it needs. Pick up 2 quarts for each person in your tent. So the people of Israel did as they were told. Some gathered a lot, some only gathered a little, but when they measured it out, everyone had just enough. Those who gathered a lot had nothing left over, and those who gathered only a little had enough. Each family had just what it needed. Then Moses told them, Do not keep any of it until morning. But some of them didn't listen and kept some of it until morning. But by then it was full of maggots and had a terrible smell. Moses was very angry with them. After this, the people gathered the food morning by morning, each family according to its need. And as the sun became hot, the flakes they had not picked up melted and disappeared. On the sixth day, they gathered twice as much as usual, 4 quarts for each person instead of 2. Then all the leaders of the community came and asked Moses for an explanation. He told them, This is what the Lord commanded. Tomorrow will be a day of rest, a holy Sabbath day to be set apart for the Lord. So bake or boil as much as you want today and set aside what is left for tomorrow. So they put some aside until morning, just as Moses had commanded. And in the morning the leftover food was wholesome and good, without maggots or odor. Moses said, Eat this food today, today is the Sabbath. For today is a Sabbath day dedicated to the Lord. There will be no food on the ground today. You may gather the food for 6 days, but the 7th day is the Sabbath. There will be no food on the ground that day. Some of the people went out anyway on the 7th day, but they found no food. The Lord asked Moses, How long will these people refuse to obey my commands and instructions? They must realize that the Sabbath is the Lord's gift to you. That is why he gives you a 2-day supply on the 6th day, so there will be enough for 2 days. On the Sabbath day you must each stay in your place. Do not go out and pick up food on the 7th day. So the people did not gather any food on the 7th day. The Israelites called the food manna. It was white like coriander seed, and it tasted like honey wafers. Then Moses said, This is what the Lord has commanded. Fill a 2-quart container with manna. to preserve it for your descendants. Then later generations will be able to see the food I gave you in the wilderness when I set you free from Egypt." Moses said to Aaron, "Get a jar and fill it with 2 quarts of manna. Then put it in a sacred place before the Lord to preserve it for all future generations." Aaron did just as the Lord had commanded Moses. He eventually placed it in the Ark of the Covenant in front of the stone tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenant. So the people of Israel ate manna for 40 years until they arrived at the land where they would settle. They ate manna until they came to the border of the land of Canaan. The container used to measure the manna was an omer, which is 1/10 of an ephah. It held about 2 quarts. Water from the rock, Exodus 17, 1 through 7. At the Lord's command, the whole community of Israel left the wilderness of sin and moved from place to place. Eventually, they camped at Rephidim, but there was no water for the people to drink. So once more, the people complained against Moses. "Give us water to drink," they demanded. "Quiet," Moses replied. "Why are you complaining against me, and why are you testing the Lord?" But tormented by thirst, they continued to argue with Moses. "Why did you bring us out of Egypt? Are you trying to kill us, our children, and our livestock with thirst?" Then Moses cried out to the Lord, "What should I do with these people? They are ready to stone me." The Lord said to Moses, "Walk out in front of the people. Take your staff, the one you used when you struck the water of the Nile, and call some of the elders of Israel to join you. I will stand before you on the rock at Mount Sinai. Strike the rock, and water will come gushing out. Then the people will be able to drink." So Moses struck the rock as he was told, and water gushed out as the elders looked on. Moses named the place Massa, which means test, and Meribah, which means arguing, because the people of Israel argued with Moses and tested the Lord by saying, "Is the Lord here with us or not?" Israel defeats the Amalekites, Exodus 17, 8 through 16. While the people of Israel were still at Rephidim, the warriors of Amalek attacked them. Moses commanded Joshua, "Choose some men to go out and fight the army of Amalek for us. Tomorrow I will stand at the top of the hill, holding the staff of God in my hand." So Joshua did as Moses commanded and fought the army of Amalek. Meanwhile, Moses and Aaron and Hur climbed to the top of a nearby hill. As long as Moses held up his staff in his hand, the Israelites had the advantage. But whenever he dropped his hand, the Amalekites gained the advantage. Moses' arms soon became so tired he could no longer hold them up. So Aaron and Hur found a stone for him to sit on. Then they each stood on the side of Moses, holding up his hands. So his hands held steady until sunset. As a result, Joshua overwhelmed the army of Amalek in battle. After the victory, the Lord instructed Moses, "Write this down on a scroll as a permanent reminder and read it aloud to Joshua. I will erase the memory of Amalek from under heaven." Moses built an altar there and named it Yahweh Nissi, which means "the Lord is my banner." He said, "They have raised their fist against the Lord's throne, so now the Lord will be at war with Amalek generation after generation." Jethro's visit to Moses, Exodus 18, 1 through 12. Moses' father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian, heard about everything God had done for Moses and his people, the Israelites. He heard especially about how the Lord had rescued them from Egypt. Earlier, Moses had sent his wife Zipporah and his 2 sons back to Jethro, who had taken them in. Moses' first son was named Gershom, for Moses had said when the boy was born, "I have been a foreigner in a foreign land." His second son was Eleazar, for Moses had said, "The God of my ancestors was my helper. He rescued me from the sword of Pharaoh." Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, now came to visit Moses in the wilderness. He brought Moses' wife and 2 sons with him, and they arrived while Moses and the people were camped near the mountain of God. Jethro had sent a message to Moses saying, "I, Jethro, your father-in-law, am coming to see you with your wife and your 2 sons." So Moses went out to meet his father-in-law. He bowed low and kissed him. They asked about each other's welfare and then went into Moses' tent. Moses told his father-in-law everything the Lord had done to Pharaoh and Egypt on behalf of Israel. He also told about all the hardships they had experienced along the way and how the Lord had rescued his people from all of their trouble. Jethro was delighted when he heard about all the good things the Lord had done for Israel as he rescued them from the hand of the Egyptians. "Praise the Lord," Jethro said, "for he has rescued you from the Egyptians and from Pharaoh. Yes, he has rescued Israel from the powerful hand of Egypt. I now know Excuse me. I know now that the Lord is greater than all the other gods, because he has rescued his people from the oppressions of the proud Egyptians. Then Jethro, Moses' father in law, brought a burnt offering and sacrifices to God. Aaron and all the descendants of Israel came out and joined him in the sacrificial meal in God's presence. Jethro's wise advice. The next day, Moses took his seat to hear the people's disputes against each other. They waited before him from morning till evening. When Moses' father in law saw all that Moses was doing for the people, he asked, "What are you really accomplishing here? Why are you trying to do all of this alone, while everyone stands around you from morning until evening?" Moses replied, "Because the people come to me to get a ruling from God. When a dispute arises, they come to me, and I am the one who settles the case between the quarreling parties. I inform the people of God's decrees, and give them instructions." "This is not good," Moses' father in law exclaimed. "You're going to wear yourself out, and the people too. This job is too heavy of a burden for you to handle all by yourself. Now listen to me, and let me give you a word of advice, and may God be with you. You should continue to be the people's representatives before God, bringing their disputes to Him. Teach them God's decrees, and give them His instructions. Show them how to conduct their lives. But select from all the people some capable, honest men who fear God and hate bribes. Appoint them as leaders over groups of 1,000, 100, 50, and 10. They should always be available to solve the people's common disputes, but have them bring the major cases to you. Let the leaders decide the smaller matters themselves. They will help you carry the load, making the task easier for you. If you follow this advice, and if God commands you to do so, then you will be able to endure the pressures, and all of these people will go home in peace. Moses listened to his father in law's advice and followed his suggestions. He chose capable men from all over Israel and appointed them as leaders of the people. He put them in charge of groups of 1,000, 100, 50, and 10. These men were always available to solve the people's common disputes. They brought the major cases to Moses, but they took care of the smaller matters themselves. Soon after this, Moses said goodbye to his father in law, who returned to his own land. Goodness. The Lord reveals himself at Sinai, Exodus 19, 1 through 25. Exactly 2 months after the Israelites left Egypt, they arrived in the wilderness of Sinai. After breaking camp at Rephidim, they came to the wilderness of Sinai and set up camp there at the base of Mount Sinai. Then Moses climbed the mountain to appear before God. The Lord called to him from the mountain and said, "Give these instructions to the family of Jacob. Announce it to the descendants of Israel. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians. You know how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now if you will obey me and keep my covenant, you will be my own special treasure from among the people of all the earth. For all the earth belongs to me, and you will be my kingdom of priests, my holy nation. This is a message you must give to the people of Israel." So Moses returned from the mountain and called together the elders of the people and told them everything the Lord had commanded him. And all the people responded together, "We will do everything the Lord has commanded." So Moses brought the people's answer back to the Lord. Then the Lord said to Moses, "I will come to you in a thick cloud, Moses, so the people can hear me when I speak with you. Then they will always trust you." Moses told the Lord what the people had said. Then the Lord told Moses to go down and prepare the people for my arrival. Consecrate them today and tomorrow, and have them wash their clothing. Be sure they are ready on the third day, for that day the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai as all the people watch. Mark off a boundary all around the mountain. Warn the people. Be careful. Do not go up on the mountain or even touch its boundaries. Anyone who touches the mountain will certainly be put to death. No hand may touch the person or animal that crosses the boundary. Instead, stone them or shoot them with arrows. They must be put to death. However, when the ram's horn sounds with a long blast, then the people may go up on the mountain. So Moses went down to the people. He consecrated them for worship, and they washed their clothes. He told them, "Get ready for the third day until then abstain from having sexual intercourse." On the morning of the third day, thunder roared and lightning flashed, and a dense cloud came down on the mountain. There was a long, loud blast from a ram's horn, and the people trembled. Moses led them out of camp to meet with God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. All of Mount Sinai was covered with smoke because the Lord had descended on it in the form of fire. The smoke billowed into the sky like smoke from a brick kiln, and the whole mountain shook violently. As the blast of the ram's horn grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God thundered his reply. The Lord came down on the top of Mount Sinai and called Moses to the top of the mountain. So Moses climbed the mountain. Then the Lord told Moses, "Go back down and warn the people not to break through the boundaries to see the Lord, or they will die. Even the priests who come regularly Even the priests who regularly come near to the Lord must purify themselves so that the Lord does not break out and destroy them. But Lord, Moses protested, the people cannot come up to Mount Sinai. You already warned us. You told me, mark off a boundary all around the mountain to set it apart as holy. But the Lord said, go down and bring Aaron back up with you. In the meantime, do not let the priest or the other people break through to approach the Lord, or he will break out and destroy them. So Moses went down to the people and he told them what he had said. That was a long one. Felt long. Okay. Let's do Trim Healthy Mama 100 Days of Inspiration. We are on to day, 37? Yep. Okay. Never before and never again. My granddaughter, Chalice, Serene's daughter, loves to read George MacDonald books. Today she read me a quote from him. No man ever did the best work who copied another. Let every man work out the thing that is in him. God is an amazing creator, and he doesn't make clones. Every individual he has created since the beginning of time is a new and fresh revelation from his hand. You also are a new creation, never before or never again to be created. You will never be like someone else. You don't even have to mother like someone else. My 3 married daughters, Evangeline, Pearl, and Serene, are all wonderful mothers, but each one mothers differently. They homeschool differently, they discipline differently, and neither is influenced by the other. They embrace who God created them to be. Every one of your children is a unique individual. Each one has a different gift. Each one learns differently. They are not meant to be put in a box. The government would like your children in the state system to be influenced with their humanist and progressive agenda so they will all think alike. But God wants your children to think like Him. He has a special purpose for each one of your children. Give them freedom to be who God created them to be. Encourage them to pursue the gifts God has given them. We glorify God when we embrace whom He created us to be. Grace in the wilderness. In Jeremiah 31:2, God says, the people found grace in the wilderness, even Israel, when I went to cause him to rest. Are you facing a biting wind of hardship so strong it has knocked you down to your knees? If so, you are right where God wants you. The smooth, easy road where we walk without assistance makes it too easy to get puffed up with our own self-assurance and capabilities. The only thing we are capable of doing alone is making a huge mess of things. If you have been brought to your knees, you know your weakness and your inability to make another step alone. You are in perfect posture to cry out to the one who heals the brokenhearted and longs to carry you in his arms. Will we choose to find grace in the wilderness? It's here. He gives us his rest. Will we stop striving and let him carry us? I love the words of Isaiah 46:3-4, where it describes God carrying us from birth all the way to our old age. Listen to me, O house of Jacob, who have been born by me from your birth, carried from the womb, even to your old age. I am he, and to gray hairs I will carry you. Serene. God is the source. The cover of this book says that I am one of 3 generations giving wisdom. However, this wisdom is not something I can come up with myself. I can only borrow wisdom. I can agree with others and word it in my own way, but I am not the originator. Even the wisdom I borrow is borrowed wisdom. Wisdom comes from God. Anyone can take credit for finding wisdom, but no one can take credit for creating it. No one can but Him. Okay. There we go. Thanks for joining me this morning. I hope it's a blessing to you. My foot is stuck. Ow, 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 ow. I got a crick in my foot. I'm getting old. Oh, I'm getting old and stiff. It's chilly in here, so I sit too long and I can't move. Lord have mercy. All right, you guys. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you all have a blessed day. I hope you get the opportunity to be a blessing to someone else today, and stay on plan. Stay on plan. There is no reason to make an unhealthy choice today just because it's the weekend. That's not a reason. If you stop and think about your healthy eating choices today, is there really a reason to go off plan? Maybe it's a church potluck, or it's a big family dinner, or it's, the weekend. Is that a reason to go off plan? No. There's plenty of alternatives. So stay on plan today. I love you all, and I will see you back tomorrow morning for more devotions and for breakfast. Have a great day, guys.